So Arsenal lost, Manchester City lost. So the spotlight turned on Liverpool, my friend, at Anfield. Difficult game against Brighton. They'd beaten them in the League Cup midweek, but that, I'm sure was counting for nothing in a Premier League game. A full Anfield. Brighton go 1-0 up the Karioglu with a lovely strike. They have a second chance who Ruter goes through one-on-one. Kelleher comes up with a good save and a really important save. They lose Kanate at a corner kick. Yeah. It looks like he's got a hand or arm injury. We're hearing reports today that it's not quite so bad, and hopefully he shouldn't be out for any lengthy period. Although I have to say, and I'm going to get it in early, Joe Gomez comes on at half-time for Kanate. Doesn't put a foot wrong. Was very close to being my underappreciated performer of the week. For all the Liverpool... I think he's 10 years at the football club. He was signed for the kid from Charlton, mate. What a great servant he's been to the club. Any position across the back line he can play. Joe Gomez, very unlucky to... my second underappreciated performer of the week, if I'm allowed one. But Liverpool get the job done, mate. They get a couple of goals back. Cody Gakpo, 2 in midweek, gets slightly fortunate. He said it was a cross that finds its way into the net. Mo Salah does what Mo Salah does. Estupinan's the only person who probably knows he's going to come inside on his left foot and bend it in the top corner. He does that. 7 goals for the Egyptian king. And Liverpool go to the top of the table, my friend.
Yeah, but it's not that straightforward. It's not that straightforward.
Okay, thank you. Go on then.
In that window, right? So of course there's all the games going on, and you kind of like with Peacock now we can pick whatever, whichever one we think's interesting. I thought it was going to be an interesting game, and flipping out, my goodness, was it an interesting game?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you've got your eye, being in the studio, you got to get your eyes off her.
I was trying to keep an eye on Liverpool,
Yeah, I know, but I took a close look at it, and they got absolutely outplayed in the first half. Yeah. Absolutely outplayed. Yeah. Like embarrassing, like absolutely. Liverpool chasing shadows, Rob. First note I've got here. First note, when I'm after like 5 or 10 minutes, you start making notes of what you're seeing. More energy needed. Really poor press. Not very good out of possession. Must make it harder for Brighton to play. Brighton dominated. Brighton absolutely dominated. Some of their football, and the managers come in again at Brighton. Another one that's taken from the old manager and his own kind of fingerprints on it, but played lovely football, played right through Liverpool's non-existent press. Now, halftime comes, of course, and this is where the managers earn their call. And I remember sending out on social media, wow, that was Liverpool chasing shadows. Like they gotta come on, something different. And it was different. And there's 2 things, and it's interesting because Slot talked about it afterwards as well. He did make a tactical change where Trent Alexander-Arnold, as we know, Rob, is particularly last year, came into centre midfield all the time. With Arne Slot, he's less keen for him to do that. And he didn't do that first half. And it's left with the same system, the same midfield players. I thought McAllister's having a little bit of a quiet period, to be fair. And, Alexis McAllister is a player that I absolutely love. And they couldn't build up play. And then they just chased Brighton's football. Second half change was Trent moved way into midfield. So that was a definite tactical change that he did. But as he said afterwards, he said that wasn't the reason we were better. He said it was just more intensity, more energy. He said we didn't show up in the first half. And it's like, yeah, absolutely right. Like it's still so fair play to the manager, makes the changes, gets the job done. Now from there, Rob, right? From there, what do we then think? Liverpool. This is how I feel about Liverpool. They're top of the league. There's one of 2 ways it's going to go. If they continue to be a little... I mean, they're still finding themselves, right? So we've got to accept that. The manager's still finding out about his play. He's learning all the time. He's got something. Obviously, they're on a good little run. They're top of the league. He doesn't want to change too much, but he's learning all the time. But we can see from not just that first half, but other games as well, where they've got away with it a little bit, they're still a work in progress. Yeah. Now, either... they're going to get better, and the manager's gonna fix certain problems as he goes during the season. Because I feel like there's a lot more from Liverpool. They're sat top of the league table now, Rob. They can be a lot better than what they've been. So if they find their best stuff, or the manager tweaks it in a way, or makes some changes that gets them playing more 100% more of the time, they can absolutely win this Premier League. Absolutely win it. The other side of it, if they don't do that, I think the little pieces of signs that it's still work in progress are going to mean that they're going to drop down the league a tiny bit. It's a funny one because they're there, and I don't think they've been at their best, Rob, and they've got away with it a few times. Are they going to get better, or are they going to do the same? where I think other teams in this league, with what we've seen with teams up and down the league, Rob, can be competitive, then they might fall away a little bit. That's my thought. It's kind of exciting and not concerning because it's so early yet, but I just feel there's more to come, Rob, and yet they're top of the league.
And it's really interesting, Rob, because I agree with what you said. I was looking through, so I went back after the game and looked at some changes. You know, McAllister, Zoboszlai, probably both not on top of the game, come off. Jones and Diaz come on. Changes the shape a little bit when he needs to, gets Mo a little bit higher up the pitch. And then there was another thing that I saw, Rob, that came out there. Somebody said, you know, late on he stuck on Conor Bradley just to stop the threats down the wide areas on the right-hand side with Trent, just like as Brighton are trying to get overloads and things. And so the two things that came out, Rob, that I thought were really interesting and which I think we're finding out about Arne Slot. He said a few weeks ago, I'm still finding out about my squad of players and how we react in certain situations, which I thought was very open and very honest. But the thing I would say, Rob, is we, for the last 2 or 3 years, used to say Jurgen Klopp is one of the best managers at half-time and affecting a game. He knows what kind of the things to do. What I like about Arne Slot is it doesn't seem like he's totally taken by X's and O's and shape and things. Like you said, I think the first thing he said in his interview yesterday was like, forget the shape, forget how we were playing. We weren't at it.
He weren't, that's right.
And if he can address that as well as the tactical stuff, then that's when I think that they have a chance. And, you know, another win, Rob, they go top of the table. It's not the fist pumps, it's the claps, it's the little conversations with his coaches at the end in his very understated manner. I don't think he could have hoped for anywhere better start than this. And if it falls off a bit or if things don't quite go, you know what? I don't think any of us, I hardly know anyone who thought that Liverpool would win the title this year. So while they're up there and that's where they'll sit and continue to try and be there, that's fine. But I just think if they fall a little short this year, based on its first season in charge, there's so much to look forward to going forward. And this guy has got this football club very quickly.
Yeah, but all that being said, right? Given the City and Arsenal, it's like
a little bit off.
They're a little bit off. Like this could be a really good opportunity. Well, for any of them.
I'm not saying in any way they're Leicester, but the Leicester City year was when a few big teams weren't really at it, and they managed
fully grooved,
you know, Liverpool in a whole different league and a whole different quality than Leicester, and no way saying they're the same. But I know what you mean. Maybe if City are going to drop the odd point and Arsenal be a little bit inconsistent, is there an opportunity? You
might not need 90
another
points.
Great win.
It might not be that sort of total.
Do you think, just before we move on, and I know we will move on to Spurs and their win against Aston Villa, do you feel at any point this, as we go into the second half of the season, and you know, Klopp will know his players and understand, do you think the players out of contract in any way will affect the second half of the season? Because we're talking about some players, Rob, if they're thinking about moving or the moves overseas, we could talk about a player, let's say one of the three, already be signed up for somewhere else. And there was a very, very interesting, semi-cryptic, maybe I'm not smart enough to totally understand it, Mo Salah put out a recent tweet about Liverpool and always wanting to be in their champions. And it's in every way, and I'm not trying to be mischievous, showing that Mo loves being at Anfield and being part of it. It just, I don't know what, I couldn't quite pick up the sense of what the message he was trying to give.
Listen, I think these three, and I think this sort of thing is a case-by-case, you know, situation. I just think, Rob, whatever happens with their contracts, these are three really great pros who care about the club.
Absolutely.
Even if Trent Alexander signs a pre-contract with Real Madrid, for example, I still got to think he's going to try his absolute everything for a title for Liverpool. Same with Mo Salah. Same with Virgil van Dijk. And I think Van Dijk has admitted they're talking. It feels like that's a bit more possible. But whatever happens, Rob, I still believe that those three particularly, and there are others you might say, well, if he signed a contract, wasn't want to get injured, or I just think that you won't see a drop off in their performances. But I could absolutely be wrong. I could absolutely be wrong if somebody does sign. But that's my take right now. Is that they?
I think I would agree. It'd just be interesting the dynamics and whether people would see that as something that might disrail them a little bit. But what I would say as well, I think Arne Slot's the kind of manager who would deal with it. Robbie, he looks like he can take.
If he senses it, he'll make some changes.
Yeah, great communicator, great relationship with the media and with the players. So, we'll see how Liverpool go, but continue to go really well under Arne Slot. Just a one defeat this season against Forest, which is looking like not that bad a defeat, and sit top of the table.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host of NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And if you want even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock.